So today we gotta talk about this. And we gotta talk about Lucy Olsen. And is she pushing her way up to being a first round pick in the WNBA draft? And my answer to this is no. But she is like if she can continue like this and she can continue like this into the tournament and Iowa can even make the Sweet 16. If they can make the Sweet 16, then yeah, I don't see why not. I don't see why not. If Iowa can make the Sweet 16, screw Georgia Amore, who's older than Lucy Olsen. Screw all these players that are like whatever you're rating as based on what they were as freshmen. Like, people are basing the draft on what happened as freshmen. I'm sorry, like, it would be like, let's just say, we've had, in the NBA, we've had situations where freshmen have been the best players in college. Michael Beasley was one of them. It doesn't always work out like that. And now we've got a situation where the guaranteed number one overall pick may not be a first-team All-American. And it's funny because Lucy Olsen is exactly what she's able to do is exactly almost what you want Paige to do. She is willing to take over games. And we've seen it now in recent games, like obviously in her game log. Like, look, Villanova, the games weren't that meaningful. Like, as good as she was at Villanova, like, they weren't a bad team. Like, if you look at how Villanova got on, they had a good record last year. Like, they lost to UConn by 20. They lost to Creighton. Did they have any big wins over ranked opponents? Not really. Oh, sorry, they beat Marquette, I guess, who were ranked. But, like, I mean, they're in the equivalent of the NIT. They lost to Illinois in... Was this the, like, get into the tournament game? Oh, no. They lost in basically the equivalent of the freaking NIT championship game. And, yeah, like, it was Nova. They're a big college. Like, they were playing against VCU in it. But she comes to Iowa. A lot is expected of her. And Iowa have been about as expected. I think nobody expected this big losing streak, but also the winning streak they then went on, which included, like, this is last year. Oh, they beat Iowa State last year. Wow. Oh, no, sorry. Here it is. Sorry. No one expected they beat Iowa State this year. Jeez. No one expected the losing streak, but then no one also expected the huge winning streak they went on, which included a win over USC. Like, these are not bad teams. Nebraska are not a bad team. Again, beat them in overtime. But the thing with Iowa is every one of their games is close. Yes, they lost to Ohio State in overtime. They beat USC. They lost to Washington. That was not a great game. Beat Washington. They lost one game fairly badly, did they? Actually, they didn't, to be fair. They lost the 70 ranked team in the nation, Tennessee. That was the one where I was like, it was close and they pulled away at the end. But Tennessee, ranked team, lost to them. Beat Iowa State. Michigan State, ranked team, lost by 2. 8th ranked team in the nation, lost by 8. They had to dig their way back in that game and they lost that one in the end. Lost to Illinois, who were decent, by 5. Lost by 7 to Indiana. Lost in overtime to Nebraska and lost to Oregon by 1. So, like, that's the thing is, they are, as a team, Iowa have been really, really, like, close in games. And you want to know what the big difference? You know what the big difference was in this? Lucy Olsen. Lucy Olsen to start the year was on fire. She was horrendous during the losing streak. And then as soon as Lucy Olsen picked up her game again, and I'm not going to lie, she has been playing as one of the 5 best players in the nation since they went on that win streak. And then she's there hitting clutch shots at the end. She did it against Juju Watkins. She went at her. She was guarding Juju. She did a great job guarding Juju Watkins. Like, she outplayed Juju in a matchup against her, and people are calling her player of the year. We all know it's Hannah Hidalgo. But with that, like, you've got to judge players based on how they're playing. And if we're looking at WNBA mock drafts, and I just want to look here at, say, just the 2-round mock drafts. Is there any 2 rounds that I can find? The only ones that I can find have Dominique Malonga going twice in the draft. But, like, in the second round, So yeah, this is one. I don't know when this is from. This is from November. So it's even, heck, it's from before the season. Like, they have Olivia Miles going 4. That's how crazy this mock draft is. They still have Kiki Iriafen. Kiki Iriafen is more likely to be a second rounder than she is going 2. But, like, you look down here to start the year, and there are players. Anika Soltau, is she going to be in the draft? She'll be an interesting second pick of the Fever if she is. But, like, you're looking at player, like, she's expected to go 27th in the draft at that stage. I think her and Hailey Van Lith are very similar. By the way, Hailey Van Lith's hooping. Absolutely hooping. A little bit shorter, but, like, she's a better passer than Lucy Olsen. But Lucy Olsen's shown she can play defense, and she's a bucket. She's an absolute bucket who can create her own shot. And again, I don't know if she's makes a roster this year, but she's going to be drafted. And she was expected to go in the 3rd round. Like, I'm looking at some of these teams, like, I don't know if you take her over Sanaya Rivers. I get it, Sanaya Rivers has the defense, but she's not a bucket. She's not a bucket. Like, I'm taking 100 times out of 100. I'm taking Lucy Olsen over Raven Johnson. I'm sorry, I'm taking a bucket over Andre Roberson. Like, she literally can't score. She can't score at all. And then look at the first round. None of these players I'm taking Lucy Olsen over. Still to this point in time. You've still got the potential in Kiki Iriafen. And the only player I would consider is maybe Tahina Pau, but Tahina Pau is such a good shooter that she kind of she fits in a little bit easier. I'm not taking her over Citron. I'm not taking her over Sellers. I'm not taking her over Sivka for potential, and I'm not taking her over Easy Foot. Layla Felia, sorry, Jesus, has she even played this year? But there are still probably players like if Janiyah Barker enters, I'm taking Janiyah Barker in the first round, like that type of thing. But I put her firmly in that conversation with the Sanaya Rivers. I put her in the conversation with around Maddie Westbell, JJ Quinnerly. Honestly, I think Isaiah James might have a better chance of getting into that first round. Same with Georgia Amor, depending on needs. But, like, I would put her just below that. Like, there are the tiers of your fringe first round players. Georgia Amor, Isaiah James are in that tier. What's her name? Sanaya Rivers, you never know who's looking there. Neepkins is in that tier now. I think Van Lit's going to be a second, 3rd round pick. And no, you're not going to be drafting Destiny Adams the way she's been playing recently. Sedona Prince, I don't know, basketball wise, sure. But I think she's on that bubble. I think she is going to be in that, like, not first round, but has a legit chance of making a roster depending on who she ends up signing for. Like, if you're looking at WNBA teams, like, if she ends up going, let's just say she goes 13 to the Sparks. Let's just say that. And I'm like, does she make a roster like the Sparks? Maybe not, because they're going for it a little bit this year. But if she goes, what pick did the Sun have? If she goes to the Sun in the 2nd round, she probably makes the team. She probably makes that team. If the Aces take her with one of their picks, like, the Aces could really do with her, by the way. Like, that Aces team needs firepower off the bench. Like, they really do. And in fairness to her, like, she can go create her shot. Like, I know a lot of people are talking about the Aces needing role players. And the Aces need some scoring off their bench. And, like, you can't just have a bunch of role players. So she might work if they're willing to, if they want to kind of just get some more. Oh, actually, no. Sorry, they just signed Dana Evans. What am I talking about? I'm, like, looking at teams. If she's gonna make a roster, it's a Sparkplug bench score. Atlanta Dream, no, they have Walker Kimbrough. Liberty, no, she won't play. The Lynx, she won't play. The Mercury, like, I don't know what, like, the Mercury just do not have that many players. Like, the Mercury have, what's her name? They have Laxa, who, I watched her play against Ireland. I didn't think she was up to much. Like, they've got a lot of role players here off their bench. They don't have a bucket. Like, if I was her, I'd be like, the team you want to be drafted by might be the Mercury, to be honest. Like, the Mercury, I think, are are a team that she could go to and do well. They're not going to take her with the 12th pick. But if they just want to bucket, maybe. The Sky, I think she would be okay at the Sky off the bench. The Wings, I don't know what's going on with the Wings, but obviously the Connecticut Sun. That's where is maybe one of the more ideal situations. But I think there's a 50-50 chance she makes a roster this year. I think she will make a roster at some stage, but I genuinely do think there's about a 50-50 chance Lucy Olsen makes a roster. Still don't think she's first round, but if she keeps playing like this, then maybe. Maybe she will eventually. But I think now she's firmly in second round pick conversations, whereas I do think to start the year she was in late second, early third round conversations. Then during that losing streak, it was like, will she even get drafted? But the way she's been one of the best players in the nation over the last 5 games. And the fact is that she has freaking ice in her veins. She steps up in the clutch, which is rare for players. And you just know at whatever level she plays that she's going to be a bucket. So I can see her being one of those players that's like dominates in AU or dominates overseas and maybe struggles a little bit at the WNBA level because her main asset is scoring, and it's harder to do that when you go to pro. But either way, I think the future is bright for Lucy Olsen.